Hello and welcome to another English lesson. As you can see here, many kites coming up, so many different types because we will be doing the lesson, the Kite Festival. Years ago, the harassed mother would often say to her restless son, who needed to be kept busy during his holidays, "Why don't you go fly a kite?" And the little boy would happily pick up his kite and run out into the field. So many years ago, when there were no mobiles and video games, children had holidays and mothers would be harassed, that is, troubled or disturbed because children were restless, they didn't know what to do. And so mothers would say, "Why don't you go and fly a kite?" And the boys would happily run out into the fields and fly, pick up their kites and fly them. That, of course, was in the past, when the only kites available were made of kite paper and thin wooden frames. Kite flying has come a long way since then with the invention of the motorized and even fiberglass kites to compete with the old-fashioned kites. Today, kite flyers can be found in different parts of the world, carrying different types of kites, waiting for the right winds. So, as you can see in the pictures, previously we had only the kites made of kite paper with thin wooden frames. Nowadays, different variety of kites are available, even motorized one where they run on motor, and even fiberglass kites made from extremely fine fibers of glass. Today, we find kite flyers all in all parts of the world, and they have different types of kites. The only thing is they wait for the right type of wind. So when there is a proper wind, they can go and fly their kites. Flying has a long history. There are many Greek, Indian, and other mythological stories which tell us about human beings wanting to or trying to fly. Now, mythological stories are ancient, old stories about deities or goddesses, heroes, and fanciful creatures who wanted to fly. Over a period of time, this desire of humans and their imagination probably led to the invention of kites, and it is likely that the box kites designed more than 100 years ago later inspired others to create power-driven aeroplanes. So, over many years, this desire of human beings to fly and then that imagination, they wanted to fly, and then they had this imagination which led them to discover kites. And then after that, if the kite could fly, then why can't we fly? And therefore the creation of the aeroplane. In India, however, the tradition of kite flying has not changed, be it during the coming of spring, which is celebrated as Vasant, or during the festival of Makar Sankranti. People of all ages go out into the open to try their luck with their kites. In towns and cities where open spaces are difficult to find, terraces and rooftops are often used for this traditional sport. So the tradition of kite flying in India hasn't changed. It is still there today. The festival of Makar Sankranti where people go out and fly their kites. If there are, in towns or cities, there are so many buildings, so they go onto the terraces, on the rooftops, and they fly. And along with that, festival is celebrated, with many rituals, and we have the til laddu and so many other things that happen. In Gujarat, Makar Sankranti is kite flying day. Traditionally celebrated on January 13 or 14, it is a holiday when people meet outdoors to cut each other's kites. This day also coincides with the festival of Uttarayan when the sun is said to begin its journey to the northern hemisphere. The people of Gujarat celebrate Uttarayan with a lot of enthusiasm, and all business comes to a grinding halt for a couple of days. It is also a celebration to mark the end of winter. So many things related to kites. Makar Sankranti, Kite Flying Day, traditionally celebrated on the 13th or 14th. okay, of January. People meet outdoors and they have fun cutting one another's kite. Now, this day coincides or happens at the same time with the festival of Uttarayan. Now, this festival is when the sun is said to begin its journey to the northern hemisphere. And in Gujarat, people celebrate Uttarayan very well, and all businesses stop totally, grinding halt for a couple of days. And it is also a celebration to mark the end of winter. Flying begins at dawn and continues without a pause throughout the day. People of all ages gather on rooftops, friends, neighbors, and even total strangers compete with one another, and cries of triumph rend the air when someone cuts the line of arrival. So, kite flying and during these festivals begins right early in the morning at dawn and continues throughout the day. People of all ages go on the rooftops, friends, neighbors, total strangers. They compete with one another to try to cut the line of the other one's kite, and cries of triumph, like when they cut the kite, victorious cries, okay, they rend the air, means there's a loud sound all around, you know, and when someone cuts the kite of another person. A wonderful variety of kites is seen, and the fussy buyer can choose what he wants. The more serious players prepare special lines for their kites. There is music in the air, and traditional delicacies are specially prepared for the day. So there's a variety of kites. Some people are very fussy, they don't know what to choose and they keep changing their mind. Now there are more serious kite flyers, and they prepare special lines, that's the thread that is used for their kites. There is music in the air, and traditional delicacies, that is food items typical to these festivals, are prepared for these days. Held on the same day, the bigger event, however, is the International Kite Festival at Ahmedabad, organized by the Gujarat State Tourism Corporation. It is held either at the Sardar Patel Stadium or the Police Stadium. So, when people are having fun, the bigger event is the International Kite Festival at Ahmedabad, organized by the Gujarat State Tourism Corporation, a big festival either held at Sardar Patel Stadium in Ahmedabad or the Police Stadium. This popular festival attracts international kite flyers who demonstrate their skills in flying exotic kites, and local champions as well. Little Indian paper kites compete with those from Japan, USA, UK, and other countries. Excited spectators watch in awe as marvelous shapes such as eagles and snakes soar into the skies. So, this festival, International Kite Festival, attracts people from all over the world like Japan, USA, UK, as well as our Indian champions. Now, those people who come from other countries, they fly exotic kites, meaning kites got from a foreign country. Excited spectators watch in awe, means they're just sometimes with their mouths open watching this beautiful spectacle of all different shapes of kites, such as eagles and snakes and other kinds of shapes of kites in the sky. One of the highlights of this festival is the Patang or Kite Bazaar in the heart of Ahmedabad, which is open 24 hours a day for a whole week. A visit to this bazaar in the middle of the night is enough to prove that the entire city is obsessed with kites. People crowd the streets and buy their stocks, haggling through the night. So the Patang Bazaar is there in the middle, in the heart of, means in the middle of Ahmedabad, open 24 hours a day for 1 week. People visit in the middle of the night also, and this shows that this entire city, is obsessed. I mean, they are crazy with this kite flying festival. People crowd the streets and buy, stocks of kites, haggling, that means bargaining for the price throughout the night. Skilled craftsmen demonstrate age-old kite-making skills and how to prepare the special thread used for kite flying. Mixtures of glue and ground glass cover the lines which are dried and rolled into reels known as firkis. These lines are so sharp that carelessly used, they can cut a finger. Skilled craftsmen meaning those who are experts in making kites. They have at the bazaar they have these demonstrations how to make how to make kites and how to prepare that special thread which is called the line for kite flying. It's not ordinary thread. There is a mixture of glue and small tiny glass, powder glass, and that covers the lines. It's dried and rolled into reels, and those reels are called firkis. Now these lines are sharp. They can cut your finger while flying kites, so you need to be an expert to be flying a kite. The excitement does not end with nightfall. Now it's time for illuminated box kites, often strung on one line to be launched into the sky. Called tukals, they add a grand beauty to the dark sky and compete with the brilliance of the stars. So at night, it does not matter that there's no sunlight. It's time now for the lit box kites. You can see in the picture so many different types. Okay, they launched into the sky. They are called tukals, and to this dark sky, they give brilliance. They are so attractive that people just want to watch. Now we come to your warming up exercises. You see many kites over here with different words written on it, and you have to cut out the wrong kites. Meaning, the words in the first line are nouns, second are verbs, and third are adjectives. Now, nouns are naming words, so we name a festival. Yes, it's a name, celebration, tradition, competition, all nouns. So nothing is wrong here. Now verbs are activity based or action words. So a festivity is not a verb. So it's a wrong kite. Celebrate is a verb, trade is a verb, compete, they are all action words, therefore they are verbs. Now adjectives are describing words. Festive is an adjective. Celebrity is a person, so it's not an adjective. Traditional is an adjective. And compare again is a person, not an adjective. Give the antonyms and synonyms of the words given below, choosing from those given. Synonyms are meanings, similar meaning words, and antonyms are opposites. So you have your table given to you with different words from your text. And for now, the first word is happily. If you check in the synonyms column here, you will have a word called joyfully, which is a similar meaning. And here, sorrowfully is the opposite of the antonym. Similarly, for tradition, we have old-fashioned. The antonym will be modern. Halt meaning pause. The opposite will be start. Triumph meaning victory, when you win something, and the opposite or antonym will be defeat. Exotic meaning coming from abroad or foreign, and the opposite or antonym is native, that is belonging to where we live. Rival is a competitor, and the antonym will be a partner. Soar meaning rise, the antonym will be drop. Brilliance is luster or shine, and the antonym will be dullness. Say whether the following statements are true or false. Fiberglass kites led to creating power-driven aeroplanes. False. In Gujarat, the Kite Festival is celebrated to welcome spring. True statement. Uttarayan starts from Makar Sankranti onwards. False. Kite flying in Gujarat is a competitive sport cum festival. True. The Kite Bazaar in Ahmedabad is open day and night for a week. That is also true. The special thread for kite flying is sharpened by adding sugar and glass pieces. This is false. It is glue and glass pieces. Using points from the lesson, give details of the following in a short paragraph for each topic. So the different types of kites, so lines from the passage from the lesson have been taken, and you make a little short paragraph on it. The next paragraph is about the International Kite Festival in Ahmedabad. There's a lot of information in your textbook, where it is organized, where it is held, what happens during this festival, what different types of kites are there. That is to be put in the form of a paragraph. The next paragraph is about the Kite Bazaar or the Patang Bazaar of Ahmedabad. Again, you have a lot of information about that in your textbook. Okay, how many hours it is open, who visits, what happens there, what kind of demonstrations are given there, etc. The next part of your English workshop are tenses. There are three types of tenses: present, past, and future. And then we have the aspect: simple, continuous or progressive, perfect, and perfect continuous. Okay, so it can be the present tense with a simple aspect, or the past continuous aspect, future perfect aspect. So please go through this table. You've already learned tenses. So you can see over here how differently it changes. The verb, he drives a car, in the continuous tense will be the ing form of the verb, that is driving. Perfect tense uses the verb has or have, and the perfect continuous tense uses the verb have as well as the ing form of the verb. Forms in the following sentences and state their tense and aspect. If you have not understood tenses, the topic tenses, or you feel that you need a revision, you can go to my video about tenses. I will put the link in the description box, and revise your tenses before you do this exercise. So the first sentence: they are waiting for the right winds. Are waiting is the verb. The tense is the present tense. The aspect is progressive or continuous. People were haggling over the price of kites. Were haggling is the verb form. Tense is the past tense because they were haggling, and the aspect is progressive or continuous because it is ing form of the verb. Vendors had been selling kites all through the week. Verb form had been selling. Tense past tense, the aspect perfect progressive. Skilled craftsmen had demonstrated age-old skills. Verb form had demonstrated, and you know that because there is had here, the aspect will be perfect. Past perfect. State Tourism Corporation will be organizing the International Kite Festival. Verb form will be organizing. Tense will be future. Aspect is the progressive. Kite flyers have demonstrated their skills with exotic kites. Verb form have demonstrated. Tense present, aspect perfect.